So I would like to make a quick experiment before starting. How many of you have ever published a paper in their life? Okay. And how many of you have cited the other papers from journals outside the Europe and the United States in those papers? Okay, some less hands than before. And are you able to find those citations in Web of Science or Scopus? Have you ever? Okay, one. Interesting. So what you just witnessed is exactly the invisibility crisis I would like to talk to you about. I don't know if you know Open Journal System. It's a software, open source, to publish journals, open access. We are also using it in the University of Bologna. But apparently, 80% of institutions using Open Journal System are using it in the Global South. And I read this paper from 2022 that completely changed my perspective on citations when I discovered that 98.8% of the citations coming from those journals that don't exist in Web of Science and Scopus. I mean, it's a lot. It's almost 100%. And I mean, some of you may think, well, many of them may be predatory journals. Well, actually not. According to these TOW lists, which are not golden standards, but it's something, only 1% of the journals used by Open Journal System are predatory. Those are not transparent, so don't take it as golden, but it's an indication. We are trying to change this. I've been working in Open Citation for 4 years, but it had been existing for 15 years. Today we have 2.2 billion citations, open citations, and 124 million bibliographic entities that you can use in your data sets for free, CC0, without paywall, without any registration. I would like to, for you to understand what does this mean when we lose those information. Let's imagine a paper from Ghana that cites another paper from Brazil. That citation only exists in the PDF of that paper that will never be crawled by Web of Science, by Scopus. In this way, they are completely cut off by the global conversation. This means that careers suffer. We just lose that information that makes knowledge cumulative. It's like having a graph of the web with only .org and .com, without all the others. And we don't have a technology problem because it's a problem easy to be solved with technology. We have a bridge problem. And for this reason, we at Open Citations are partnering with the Public Knowledge Project, the infrastructure that's been built in OJS, and with EIB to make an extension to what? To the same software those journals are already using to publish their papers, their citations, with a simple workflow. What do they do right now? They copy the list of references in a text area. Those references get parsed, and then you can make adjustments if there are any errors. What if we can add a simple step to the same workflow editors already use, so that those citations are already are automatically added to the global citation graph? And that's the idea. These citations are automatically sent to a specific GitHub repository as GitHub issues, so that you can leverage GitHub workflows to automatically ingest them into open citation indexes. This is what the data looks like. So basic bibliographic metadata, the title, author, publication date, another CSV with the citing and the cited entity. Of course, we cannot take whatever comes to us without validating. We make two types of validation, a structural validation and a semantic validation. Semantic means that we verify if the identifiers exist, that every citation has a corresponding bibliographic metadata. And also, we cannot open the gates to everyone. Otherwise, we have the opposite problem. So from missing data to inflated data, because you can inflate your impact by submitting an existing citation. And I would also like to be clear about the limitations of this work. We are only dealing with the publications from now onwards, and not with the publications that already exist in the system. That will be a problem for the future, but we are not thinking about it right now. And I talked about the problem of the bells list and the cabel list, that are these two lists made by two guys without a transparent criteria on how to decide what should be in the list, what should be outside of those lists. And we don't want to make the same errors again. So there will be a board made by people from Open Citations and people from PKP, and we will publish the criteria to be accepted and to be rejected without a black box. Of course, GitHub is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft changes its mind sometimes. It did it with the Microsoft Academy Graph. It will do it again with the GitHub. So we cannot rely on that. That's the reason why everything that comes, we have GitHub issues, is published also to Zenodo. Do you know Zenodo? Open Infrastructure European. And what do we publish on Zenodo? We publish both the data and the provenance, because we want also to keep track of who gave us the information and the primary sources for those information. And theoretically, if we succeed, those 400,500 journals will be part of our datasets, and that means of your datasets. That means millions of new citations entering the global network and the global conversation. So what does this mean for you? It means that you can use our APIs to get this information. You can also download the dumps if you want to make big operations on them. You can build visualizations showing the conversation between different regions. And if you are very, very nerdy, you can also use Sparkle. So the infrastructure exists, the collaboration is in place. Show us what we can make with open citations data. I ended a bit earlier to give some space for questions, if you have any. Yes.
At first, thank you very much for a brilliant presentation. And I have actually 3 questions. The first question is about, did you hear some opinions or something like that about your validation from the main stakeholders of the industry, like a Springer or Elsevier or someone like that?
Silvio, do we have a conversation with Springer?
Very briefly, yes, a lot, but with a different kind of initiative that was born a few years ago. That was the Initiative for Open Citations that wanted basically to push these publishers to release raw data about citations. They're just saying that Springer, Wiley, Elsevier, all the big publishers, not only the big publisher, but also the small one that are subscribed to Crossref, for instance, are currently publishing their citations data into that platform. So they are totally aware of what we are doing, and actually they are pushing for it, including companies like Elsevier that have a clear proprietary index that is Scopus for this kind of thing. So it's something that is well acknowledged by the publishing community. And so, yes, we have dialogue because we are discussing with them exactly in this context, and we are reusing their data that they are providing without any specific copyright on Crossref.
Thanks again. And actually 2 brief technical questions. The first is, did you hear about the Git-based platform Radical XYZ? And second, it's about CSV. Do you maintain the CSV in your platform just like, let's say, to perform totally open? Because the logic I saw from your presentation actually repeats the logic in the relational database.
So I will answer in order. No, I don't know about them, but I'm curious. So if you want to share, I will hear with pleasure. Regarding CSVs, we are using them for openness exactly, and explicitly for crowdsourcing, since it's a format that it's very well understood by everybody, also by this conversation, this conference name, apparently. And in the back end, we are using RDF, and you don't want to ask user to provide you data in RDF, and that's why we're using CSV. Yeah, we have the statistics on the downloads of our data. Everybody's downloading CSV, and nobody is downloading RDF.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask if the decentralized autonomous organizations are also involved as a community of practice, because they also are pushing forward open science. And if so, how? If not, would you consider?
So tell me if I understood it correctly. If we are involving other open infrastructures, or if we are following open infrastructure principles. DALS. I don't know about DALS. What? Okay. How is it? No. But do they provide a bibliographic metadata or citations about specifically? Okay, we will look into it. Okay. Okay. And do you know about the licenses those data released with? Yeah, that's a requirement. because otherwise we cannot publish in CC0. Okay, we will look into it. Thank you.
Do you perform any kind of harmonization work regarding the authors, like clerical error fixes or harmonization for like authors that do not have a persistent identifier?
This is actually one of the biggest issues, the disambiguation of authors. A huge part of our bibliographic index contains duplicated responsible agents because we don't make assumptions about homonyms. If two people don't have an identifier, which means an ORCID in this context, we keep them separate because we give precedence to accuracy over recall. And we are working, so about normalization, I don't know. We are not normalizing. You mean like title case? What do you mean by normalizing? Harmonizing?
I just wanted to know if you had a pipeline to basically try and like match authors that are not identified to build a graph, but you are not, and this is fine. I just wanted to know. Usually it's an exercise left to the reader. So we are going to download your data and we will do this if we want to do scientometry, but it's fine that you don't do it.
But we do not run any algorithm so far in order to make cleaning up this data and so to retrieve basically the same person, the same different entities as the same person right now. There is a PhD student is working on testing algorithms for doing this kind of deduplication for authors, but we are researching on it. It's not yet in the platform workflow right now.
I didn't understand if you are working on it.
This is a kind of work that I've done like many times in the past, but right now, no, but I know of a lot of algorithms to do so. But you are right, they are not accurate and you should not make assumptions in your case. But on my own, consuming your data, I might have some, it might yield some value if you did the job, if I have a guarantee that it's done adequately.
In this context, you want 100% accuracy because you're talking about people's careers. So people can get very angry if you, yeah.